Hey, welcome. I see some new faces. Welcome. And the old faces. Thanks for coming out.
For 5 years.
I hope you harvested all your tomatoes because I don't think they've got much time left.
Thanks, by the way.
This evening we've got Weston. You wanted to say something, right? So we'll start with Weston.
Don't want to take too much time from Mr. Banks, but I'm writing a book, and it's going to be called Florida Agriculture from the Pros, and it's going to be a collection of interviews of Florida, Central Florida, food forests, gardens, homesteads, nurseries, etc., and it'll be put into a format, and then different pests and how local Central Floridians deal with those pests. And if you want to get with me afterwards with your phone number, and if you want to meet up, but I can only do it if you live within 30 minutes because my mom has to drive me everywhere. So that's that. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. Love to see it and love to get that info. Does anyone else have any announcements to be made?
We have a couple slots left in our chicken butchering class. If anybody's got roosters or young ones that they're culling through their flock, we have that here this Thursday from 5:30 to 7:30, and the Eddies are doing that. We're hosting it, and we're going to learn a lot from that. And then we have the composting toilet, or if it's a more dire need, we can take it in for tonight. Sorry to have to do housekeeping announcements on this, but and then just try to keep your eyes with your kids within eye view if you don't mind while we're having the meeting. That way we know they're safe. And that's pretty much it, I think.
I've got
swap inside.
Seed swap inside after. Mm-hmm. I also have another biochar presentation. This one's at the Urban Harvest in St. Pete. Might be a little drive for you guys, but if you're interested, it's there for you. I think that's it. Mr. Banks, where are we at, buddy? There you are. There you are.
This is an open forum, which means it is not a monologue from me. So during the next 30 minutes, that's what Paul gave me, by all means, if you have a question, please raise your hand, stop me from talking so that I can answer your question. And I hope I will elicit some questions from you all during it. My name is Banks Helfrich. How many out here, when I say fast food, what do you think? Fast food.
Burger King.
Burger King, fast food. McDonald's, fast food, Blake. Cracker Barrel. All right, Cracker Barrel, yeah. That's only when they're not busy, right? Fast food, think of it this way, and I want you to pivot away from McDonald's and Burger King and Cracker Barrel, and that is taking your hand from here, going here to the last tomato of the season, let's say it's an Everglade, picking it and putting it into the mouth. That is fast food. And that's kind of what I want us to think about during this talk, during this conversation. I am a sustainable farmer. I have 7 acres, about 7.8 miles south of here, southwest of here. It's in Claremont. I teach sustainability with air, water, food, shelter, community, which is what we're going to talk about most about, and government. So what does that mean? Anybody can tell me what sustainability means? Anybody want to throw out something? What does sustainability mean?
Good for the earth.
Good for the earth, yes. The perpetuity of something to continue going on and on and on. How do we become sustainable? Because every meeting that I go to, I hear that word. How do we become sustainable? In the climate that we live in now, where it's changing rapidly, how do we find ways to be sustainable? I was here a couple months ago, and I heard Becca talk about how they were pure permaculturists, which means they did not cover up anything. What lived, lived, and that was sustainable. And if you look around, the squashes look great, the mulberries look great, everything looks wonderful. So it's going to be a sustainable community is what I'm mainly going to be talking about. Community. Anybody want to tell me what community is or give me an example of community?
All of us right here now.
Absolutely. Sonia, this is community. This is what Paul creates with Lake Permaculture. This is what Becca does by opening her farm. Her chicken harvest, chicken wrangling, chicken butchering is all a part of community. And when you have a sustainable community, when you have people coming together, learning, bartering, it helps everybody out. I don't know anything about biochar, but I go to Paul and I learn it here. I don't know anything about chicken harvesting or chicken butchering, and I can come to her class. My farm is open once a month, the second Saturday of every month, and it is a complimentary tour. By the way, you two little ones right there, if you behave yourself, I have balloons for you. I have balloons for you if you behave yourself. No, no, you can't. Only if you behave yourself, Wesley. And that book is done within 6 months, okay? No, okay. Once a month, second Saturday of every month, I open my farm up for anybody. Anybody can come. It's 9 a.m. in the morning. It's Sam's Lake Road, which is the Clay Road district of Lake County, basically. And it is, by raising hands, how many have actually been to the tour? Because there are some of you. Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh. Almost half of you have been there.
You can go barefoot.
You can go barefoot. I am a barefoot farmer, and it's wonderful. In fact, I ask you if you want to take your shoes off, you're more than welcome to. Ants might like you and bite you. Right now, though, they're not so much. So I opened the farm up for a tour. And the tour includes basically 77 fruit-bearing trees, my orchard. I have 14, I call it a vineyard, 14 grape plants. 13 of them are actually muscadine. I have one that, they're not muscadine. I got it at Lowe's, and it gives me seedless grapes. I have about 45 pounds of grapes every year. I can't eat more than 3 or 4 at a time because my mouth gets so raw from it. So I give it away. I also have a food forest, mainly bananas. I have an outdoor shower, which is encumbered by passion fruit, the wild passion fruit. I have a pineapple and blackberry patch. I have a wild blackberry patch. I have a vegetable garden, an herb garden, 2 shade gardens, a Monet garden, which only looks Monet in about February or March. Right now, it looks more like something Edgar Allan Poe. So yes. So this farm is not only about food; it's about air. And I tell people, how do you sustain air or have a viable air? You plant something. If you plant a plant, we have a symbiotic relationship with our plants. And when you're out there breathing what they're giving you, you become a happier person first and foremost. So air is first, and that's what we do on the property, is we plant a lot of different plants. The second thing is water. We can't live more than about 3 days without water. So I utilize water at the closest source. Anybody want to tell me what the closest source of water is?
A pump?
Closer than that. It does go through a pump.
Rain.
Rain. Who said rain? Yes. Did somebody say rain? Yeah, rainwater. I have a 2,500 gallon and a 1,400 gallon catchment system. My house has a 12-4 pitch roof, metal roof, which goes into a gutter. The gutter goes into these 2 tanks. The 2,500 gallon tank feeds my house. The 1,400 gallon tank feeds my outdoor shower. So, and I take 98% of the time outdoor showers. So if you're my neighbor across the street, you might not like it. But that's... Sorry, I'm growing up that cherry tree to get, to block it now. So yeah, water is so important. Now, what do I do with the water? The water comes into the house, and I chlorinate it first and foremost. Anybody know why I chlorinate it?
Kill the bacteria.
Kill the bacteria. Dorothy, wow, you want to do my speech for me? All right, yeah. It kills any bacteria. No Montezuma's revenge on my property. The second thing is I have a carbon filter, which actually takes out the chlorine, and it takes out any heavies. Okay, I just had it tested about a month ago. The guy that tested it was selling me on some product, and he said, you know what, you don't need. This is the best water I've seen around. He then tested the lake water, and he said, this is pretty good too. So I'm in a good spot. It's called Sam's Lake Road. So water utilized inside the house. I even take it one step further. We live in Florida. We're not in Arizona. We're not in California. That sounds like a Justin Bieber song. Some of you got that one. And they have issues with water. With 1,900 people coming to live in Florida every single day, we do not have an infinite supply of water, so we have to find ways to utilize the water over and over and over. I have a gray water system. Anybody want to tell me what gray water is? Anybody?
Dirty water.
It's what?
Dirty water.
It is?
Washing.
Yeah, washing. There's black water, which is from the toilets, which goes into the septic, and then there's gray water, everything else. Washing machine, sinks, showers, and that water goes into a system that I feed my trees, which that I do not eat from. So they're all ornamental trees. And here's the super cool thing. On my property, I love smells. I love tastes. I love taste, smells, and sight. I love to see beautiful things. My ornamental trees are actually rainbow eucalyptus. I have a small little rainbow eucalyptus forest I'm growing, and anybody know what a rainbow eucalyptus is? Yeah, Wesley.
My neighbor has it.
Yeah, so it looks like a...
I don't know how to describe it, but it's pretty good.
Yeah, it looks like, Marvin.
The trunk looks like a rainbow when it sheds.
Yeah, the trunk.
He's only had it for like 2 months, so
All right, yeah. So I have a mini rainbow eucalyptus forest. I've taken the seeds, I propagated them, I'm getting ready to grow this forest. The idea is to have this forest grow up, have hammocks in it, and then people will lie down underneath and Skittles will rain on them. So,
Taste the rainbow.
taste the rainbow, right? So it is sights. It is having beautiful things on the property. So water is the second one that I utilize, and I utilize as much of the water as I can, the gray water and all. The second thing is now when we're in a drought like now, and we were in April, we were in May, I have to pull water from the lake. And that's how I utilize, or that's how I keep water in my house. I do not have a well on my property. No well. I could either pull it from the lake and spend about $5,000, or I could pull it from the ground and spend about $10,000, and then every foot $100 more than whatever 100 feet I think it was. So yeah, water is so important. In fact, in our lifetime and in Wesley's lifetime, you'll find that water is going to be imperative. That we have to make sure that we conserve. Second thing after water is food. We grow our own foods. We grow as much as we can. I always say we have about 365 breakfasts a year. The other morning I had broccoli for breakfast. I had lima beans for breakfast. I had passion fruit. I had watermelon. Maybe some of the last of the Everglade tomatoes. So I eat everything that I possibly can on the property, and I try to grow as much as I can so that I have not only my breakfasts, my lunch is next, and then from there. Callaloo. Anybody know what callaloo is? Yeah.
edible leafed amaranth, green amaranth.
Oh, nice, Wesley. Yeah, we are just finishing up now. It's a giant thing right now. We stir fry it and eat it. Over rice sometimes. But yes, food is so imperative. Yes?
Is red amaranth different from the green amaranth?
Only
Or
in,
is it a different stage?
I think it's only in color. Hang on, let me ask my fellow farmer, Jody. That's Jody. She farms with me on the property. Red and green.
One is grown for the green, for the tassel, and the other one is grown for to eat the leaves. So the callaloo is for the leaves. It's delicious, by the way.
Yes, yeah, very delicious.
Because
And
the red, we can eat the whole plant, except for, I think, the roots.
right, it's mainly for the grain of the amaranth, I think
Yeah,
it
but
is.
you can eat the leaves, too.
Oh.
And the stems
Yeah, you
when
can.
they're small.
Yeah. So we produce as much food as we can on the property. Now, it's a 7-acre farm. We do not have animals on the property besides humans, and they're wild enough. So on the property, we leave space for nothing to grow, only indigenous to grow. And that means I do not mow areas. About 40% of it is left the way it is. So that leaves the natives, rabbits, snakes, squirrels, rats, mice, tortoises, to do what they want. And the idea is to have them do what they want at their own place so they're not coming out to my garden and eating my garden. At one time, I had a garden out there. It was about a 14 by 14, and when anything became ripe, it was gone immediately. So I thought, you know what, that's going to be decoy garden, and I'm going to have another garden closer to the house. And when I did that, they still come up every once in a while. So it's tasty. I guess they like what we grow. So we grow as much as we can to eat. That's the food aspect of it. The other aspect of after food is shelter. I built my own house. I am not a builder. My background is in performing. I'm a children's performer. What do you think I have so many balloons? And I decided to build my own house. And the house, the idea I had was making it a breathable house. Anybody want to jump in and think about what a breathable house is? Yeah.
A house with proper airflow?
Yes, it has to do with airflow. One of the biggest dangers in Florida is mold. And mold cannot attach when air is being circulated. So my idea was to have a house that took the Florida cracker principles and utilized it in a much more modern style. The walls are SIPs, structural insulated panels, which is 20 gauge metal on the outside, 4 inches of styrofoam, and then 20 gauge metal on the inside. And these are like Legos that you put in, and they're tongue and grooved together and caulked. I have high ceilings, so the high ceilings make it so that wind can go through as far as the windows on the high area. I have exhaust fans up at the top to pull air through. I have windows inside the house so that we can open up and have wind flow. We have ceiling fans. So the idea is to have everything moving as much as possible. 16 feet, which is basically from here to about right here, is the width of my house, which means I can open up the front door, I can open up the back door, and we can have a breezeway coming through. We also have a breezeway through the carport, and you can sit there and you have these this breezes coming through. So utilizing as much as I can of nature. The other thing is we have passive solar and heating. Anybody can tell me what that is?
You have some windows on the south side of the building, and with an overhang, so that during the summer months, the sun or the overhang shades the house, but during the winter, those windows allow the lower sun in the sky to heat the home.
That's west right now. And on my property, my house faces this way, so that's south. And in the summertime, I'm sorry, in the wintertime, the sun is low, which means the sun goes into my house, my windows, and heats up my house. Now, granted, we have like 18 days a year that we need our house heated up. And then in the wintertime, the sun is going up a little bit higher, and I have eaves that are a little bit longer, which will make sure that the sunlight does not go into my house, keeping my house cool. And that is solar, that is passive heating and cooling, which are those principles. This is so that I do not have to use as much air conditioning, which brings me to electricity. How do we become sustainable with electricity? Anybody want to guess? Solar, yeah, solar. We have a 3 kW system, which gives us about 48% of the electrical needs that I need on my house. It takes sunlight, creates electricity, direct current. We have an inverter which changes it to alternating current, which is what feeds the house. And I need another one of these in order to be pretty much self-sufficient, totally self-sufficient. Who here has a self-sufficient lifestyle? Who here is totally self-sufficient? Nobody. My idea for my farm, my utopia farm, is to be totally self-sufficient, to feed myself, to have enough water, to have enough electricity that I create myself, and then more than I need to give to my neighbors so that they're happy too. So I have neighbors that are happy. Here's a cool idea, and this is something I read recently, and that is there's an island, it's a Marshall Island, I think, and they want to get totally they want to create their own electricity on the island. And they have a few ways of doing that. They have solar, they have wind, they also have tide electricity that can be created. And their idea is to utilize these 3 aspects of creating electricity, and during the times that these can be produced, like when the sun is out, it will run the house, it will run, it will charge their car, their electric cars, it will charge their neighbors, it will charge the whole area. And then at night, here's the kicker, at night, when it's, the sun's gone down, so they can't get electricity from that, the tides have slowed down or ceased, the wind has slowed down. In order to get their energy, an electric car is basically a battery on wheels. And they take the car and they plug it into the house, and then the house is charged by the car. And that is a closed loop. When I talk about sustainability, how do we find ways of having a closed loop? On our property, we do not get rid of any organic matter. And when I mean organic matter, trees, limbs, branches, everything stays on the property. The only thing I throw away is your wrappers, saran wrap, plastic stuff. All the paper products that are at my house, I utilize those in recycling. The worms love it really well. I give them some cardboard too. So how do we keep everything here? Chop and drop. I either use it for fertilizer or I use it to burn. We have anybody know what a rocket stove is? Yep. Yes, we have a rocket stove, and it's this little tiny stove made of bricks, clay bricks, and it will actually boil water in lickety-split time. And it's like 3/4 little twigs to make it happen. Utilizing what I have on the farm in order not to use the gas inside or the electricity inside. So looking at the whole way of keeping it a closed loop. So we are up to housing. We're up to how do we make a sustainable home. The next is home community. And this is the main thing I wanted to talk about, because this, what Howey Homestead is doing, what Paul is doing with Lake Permaculture, is he's creating spaces. They are creating spaces for us to come together and not only to learn, not only to share, but to create a community where we can, Becky, share, we can barter, we know where to go for biochar. We know where to go where somebody knows how to write a book about agriculture in Florida, and that is what community is all about. Going to Blake or naming my next beehive after Adrena, finding ways to bring us together. And this is a perfect example of it right here. I speak at 7 different city council meetings a month. 1 school board meeting, 1 county commission meeting a month. That's 9 meetings that I stand up and speak. And I always end up speaking about sustainable farming, about how inviting people to my community, to my farm, to learn how to be sustainable. There is a push, a hunger for those of us under 45, and that is not me, by the way. I'm not one of those. They did a research study, under 45, oh my God, looks like me, only much cuter. Yeah, she looks like you. Sorry, babies distract me. Baby! Where was I? Community. I speak at these meetings to encourage people to come to my farm. Under 45, there's a hunger for people to create backyard gardens, to grow their own stuff, to make sustainability a part of their life. So that we can get through another pandemic. We can get through nothing on the shelves in Publix. Right now, and I'm going to throw this out at you. Oh, thank you. Did it look like I was sweaty?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, thank you. How can we get through another pandemic? And I think what was the last pandemic was a wake-up call for us. It kind of woke us up and goes, wait a minute, we're going to have to figure out ways of looking at life a little bit differently. Look at ways of growing our own foods, of being more self-sustainable. And it all comes back to this point right here, and that is community. Having you all be a part of it, because I need sugar, I go here. I need biochar, I go here. I need advice, I go here. I need somebody to work on my farm, I go here. With community, and this is where I get to introduce officially my FF, not my BFF, my FF, my fellow farmer. Back about a year ago, I met her, and she said, Banks, if you end up moved away. Tallahassee, what are you going to do with your farm? And I said, I don't know. She said, I would love to. I might be embellishing a little bit, sorry. She said, I would love to farm. I'd love to do that. And sure enough, Jody Anderson is my fellow farmer. She and I work together. We create a community on our farm so that we can share with people. With the farm tours, I start the farm tour out, and when I don't know something, I always go to her because she knows so much more than me. So I brought on a farmer. That's part of a community. From there, I have Airbnb. And I have Airbnb camping where people can bring their camping equipment. They can bring their small van that they live in, and they can live on my property. They can learn how to be sustainable like me. I give it to them for free, community service, and they can stay there. So they can stay there. They can learn the trade. I have an RV Airbnb where people bring their RVs. I don't have the RV. They bring their RVs. They stay there. They can learn how to be sustainable. So the idea is, if you build it, they will come. Yes, they will. They will come. They will what?
They will come.
Yes, Blake. Blake was one of my tour guides. Twice, right? You were my tour guide twice. So how do we make this utopia, this idea, this concept of making it a community, bringing people involved in it, and every step of the way, I try to make it so that it is open for anybody and everybody to come. Do you have questions or comments? I will take a sip of water, so I'll give you a little second to think.
On your camping one, is it tent camping too?
It can be tent camping. You bring your own, or you can bring your van. I had a woman from Wisconsin stay for about a month. So it's either way. Bring your own yurt, and also bring your own RV. And it's done through Airbnb. That's the best setup for me. So how do we go? That's 4 things. So we have air, water, food, shelter, community. And then the next big level that I like to talk about in sustainability is, how do we become sustainable as a society? And I'm talking bigger, almost governmental. How do we make sure that we are sustainable as the United States of America?
One person at a time.
Yes, one person at a time. My background is I was Lake Soil Water Conservation District Chairperson back in 2018 to 2022. I dabble in politics. I think it's the biggest game in town. It's the most amount of money to help the most amount of people and have the biggest impact. And I always tell people always ask, why would you ever want to run for office? And I always said, if no one ran for office, this would not be a democracy. So I am, my line of service is through being a servant of the people, to opening my farm to those to come and to learn what I have to offer. Everything, every idea, every concept, I always put it through a prism of sustainability. How do we make this sustainable in every aspect? Our farm is an experimental farm, which means I had to take up I'll tell you the story, I had to take up all my pineapples. They were too close together. I read on University of Google, which is I go on a lot, that they're supposed to be 3 feet apart. So I had all these extra ones. I took them and I ended up putting them out in where the indigenous, where the natives live. And lo and behold, they started growing out there too. I throw seeds out at different places and see what will grow. Wesley, you had your hand up or you were just scratching? You're waving at me. Good to see you. The experimentation that we have on the farm is in every aspect. Here's 2 things. When I took the pineapples and I moved them, I clipped. I didn't want to get thorned by them, so I trimmed them and I planted them. And 18 of the 35 went right into fruit. 18. And I thought, wait a minute. I've only done this once before, and I get fruit immediately. So I took that same concept, and I'll be doing this every spring now. I took the same concept with broccoli. We're at the end of our broccoli season, and I'm with my fellow farmer, and I'm thinking to myself, you know what? There's old leaves. Maybe if I trimmed them back, something would happen. Now, who has broccoli that's growing right now? That's thriving. Anybody? Now, who grew broccoli this year? Anybody? You guys? Is it still going or not? No. Yeah, it's going to seed. I ended up trimming the sides of it, and every day I have 3 or more little pups coming up. We snap them, we eat them. Sometimes I just go over and go like that, bite them. That's only because it's fun. I don't have to touch my hands because they're dirty. The point is, by trimming them, we are getting an extra month of broccoli. Last night we had broccoli I think on rice, on noodles. We had it with noodles. Yeah. So experimentation is the key. With the climate changing and the weather changing, find new ways of throwing things out there. Someone had told me at one of these permaculture meetings, clip back your mulberries after they fruit. If you clip them back like right here, right, Becca? Right. Oh, really? So Jody and I had an idea, and she says, don't do it to all of them. So I clipped them back, and I'm thinking I would get a new fruit. They haven't come yet, so I tried it. I did try that. So we're constantly trying to push the envelope on what works. I'm going to go to my bees now. I live with 2 queens. One is Lily, and one is Daisy. And they are queen bees. We have the bees there for pollination only. Okay? We do not have the bees for the honey. How would you like it? How would you like it, Blake, if you went grocery shopping at Publix where you work, and you ended up bringing home all these groceries, and then somebody took the lid off the roof off your house and took 30% of it, and then left you? How would you like that?
Isn't that taxes anyway?
Isn't that that's very good. She said, "Isn't that tax season?" Very good. Yeah. Well, then you know what bees feel like. Yeah. We all know what bees feel like.
That's a very tough question that you gave me. I was trying to think very hard about it.
It is a tough question. However, that's what we do with our bees. And I am a firm believer of using them for pollination. We do take extra honey out. Actually, I heard this from someone at a beekeeping meeting, and they said that, how many here, raise your hand, if you are getting honey? And no one had their hand up. We don't have enough flowers for that. The point is, we will only extract honey if they produced more than they need, and then we will give it back to them in the months that there's no pollination going on. So we try to utilize experimenting with these bees, which is very important. So bees, water, community, government. Basically, Paul, I think I've covered just about everything with sustainability. It all comes down to sustainability and community, though. You know, tell your friends about this. Bring your friends here. Have your friends go to different farm tours. I'm a member of the City of Groveland. I do not live in Groveland. City of Groveland Eco-Agrarian Lifestyle Focus Group. Basically, I'm the head of farm tours. Next year, March the 23rd, is National Agriculture Day, and we are opening up, Becca, I need to talk to you about this. We're opening up all farms for free tours for anybody to come and to tour the facility. My farm will be one of them. We're working on Cherry Lake Farm, which they're very open to people being involved in it. You know, Howey Homestead is another one. Blueberry Farms up near us. Any farm that's in this South Lake district, South Lake area, to open their farm and to bring the people there, because people want to learn this kind of stuff. Yes.
So my daughter and I have been working on food forest on our property, and we got a plan and everything. It's just that I've had so many surgeries on my hands that I physically cannot do the work. And Dorothy can only do so much. So I'm not speaking for Dorothy, but I myself am so overwhelmed because I want to do this, I want to do this, I've got to get, oh, it's too late to get that in, but now they're in pots, now I got to keep them alive. So you can tell by my, we're just getting so overwhelmed with
I always,
this going.
yeah, I always tell people if you're starting out farming, here's the great thing about Florida, you can grow year-round in Florida. Right now, it's the summertime. Becca, what do you have? Okra?
Put in our cover crops, but we just, June 1 on hibernate and whatever lives, basically.
Yeah. So,
Still have collard to go in.
yeah.
Some
Okra, peanuts, black-eyed peas. We have watermelons that are still going at it. These are watermelon seeds that I just threw at.
Sweet potato greens.
Sweet potatoes. You can even eat the sweet potato leaves too. Peanuts, and that's what you can grow now. In the fall, then you have a whole plethora of all the cruciferous, broccolis and lettuces, and then the ground cover crops too. So we are constantly figuring out ways to grow. Now, we do what Becca does here at Homestead, and that is we stop planting anything roughly the 15th. We go back to the 15th of this month. And then what grows, grows. I don't want to be out there in the middle of the heat. And we hope that we have rain. With the rain, we don't have to water then at all either. So yes, I always tell people to start small. Even if it's one pot, grow something, make it bigger. Oh, that's my timer, isn't it? Your time's up, Banks.
That was me.
Oh yeah, that's okay. Yes, did somebody say something? Yes, Cynthia.
But we have a small place, but I grow something you like. Like I noticed way back, I wanted to start gardening, but everybody that I knew that was gardening had peppers and something else, and I don't really like peppers. So I picked I asked Aldrina what she would like and a natural farm, and they helped us, and we just picked stuff we liked. Started small.
Okay.
I did.
Yeah. However, though, you the thing that I learned in it.
And Luke told me what would grow here.
Yeah.
I picked avocado.
Oh, really? Here's something very interesting about avocados, and that is there are many different avocado types, and you can actually almost the whole year grow avocados and have avocados on your table almost the entire year because they all produce about 2 months away from each other.
Except they don't like wet feet.
They don't like wet feet. Socks?
We're
No.
swamp. Yeah, we're swamp.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're in the swamp. Yeah. So you have the conditions of the soil. And this is something that up here we have this kind of dirt. It's all sandy. But however, growing the proper foods at the right time, and even if I'm not a big fan of okra. However, I can eat it raw, so I'll go out and pick it and eat it as I go. So I grow stuff even if I don't like it. I'll grow it. I know somebody out there likes it when they come. Wesley.
I grow all things that I don't like.
Oh yeah?
Because my family likes them. I'm not a huge fan of tomatoes. I pop some of my mouth, but my family, they're all of tomatoes. They eat so many canned tomatoes and stuff like that, so I grow tomatoes for them.
Oh good, yeah. Paul, stand up. He's getting close to me. He's like, Banks, it's time to get off. Do you have any questions or comments? If not, I will give the balloons to the mother of the kids. If you want, I have cards.
I have one question.
Okay, yeah, Becca.
I might have missed because I was in and out, but did you hire a builder or did you subcontract?
I subcontracted, and I was the owner builder.
Right, and then so the SIPs, were you able to find those locally because it's Florida or what?
I found them locally.
You did?
Yes, and I have the guy's name too, if you're ever
A
interested.
lot of people doing it around here?
I saw one in Umatilla. He sent me to a house that did it. Here's the great thing about him: 150 wind resistance.
Right.
So
The Gulf Coast?
yeah, for hurricanes, they're put together in a track on a concrete slab, and they're glued together, and then they're braced together. I mean, yeah, it's pretty incredible. I mean, hopefully not. Please don't knock it down. But yeah. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you, Banks.
Yeah. I'll be around. No more questions. Robert.
Do you have to bring in any amounts of soil or compost materials?
That's what I was.
What I do is I bring in mulch, and I get as much free mulch as I can. Yeah, chip drop is what I use, and I utilize that. I also brought in some reliable peats soil when we pot stuff. The idea though is everything that falls off the tree, leave it there, and pretty soon that sandy soil is going to end up being a little darker, a little browner. If you look underneath this mulch right here, it's going to be brown. I don't know how many layers you have there, Becca, but we have about 5 layers on some of our areas. There's a big push now in the world. It's called Save Soil, and that's what's going to be the demise of our food source, because the soil is being eroded away because there's very few plants there. And we can create our own soil, and we can create it through keeping everything there. That's why I don't send anything away.
Yeah, that's where I'm leaning toward myself. I've had to bring in some stuff because of just the sheer amount of sand.
Yeah.
But when I started looking around, I was realizing we'll actually have a huge compost potential.
Yeah.
There's a lot of green and there's a lot of dry. And started thinking about it, and I'm going to start, kind of bringing that together to compost and bring it and do it myself. But I think that fits a lot into sustainability, because when you got to start bringing in stuff, anytime you ever have to bring anything in, you're kind of fighting against that sustainability.
Right. There was a big movement, I think it's still out there, and that is to eat foods 25 miles from where you live. It's supposed to have more nutrients. Or it's like the whole concept of native birds and plants. You have native plants for the birds, and that keeps them hungry. That keeps them there. And if you bring in plants from other places, they don't. The pollinators do not know that they can eat those plants. So it's always good to keep everything local, is what I say. And that goes for a lot of stuff. Eating local. I mean, going to Howey. I went to Howey store today. Howey Market today, and got some of their stuff. Keeping it local is the key. Wesley.
I was gonna say for you, I don't know, just in the beginning, what's helped with me a lot is you can find anywhere, but alfalfa pellets. What I do is I soak them in a 5-gallon bucket, 10 minutes, and I put them on. They kind of look really gross. But if you put, what I did to make it look a lot nicer after a week, is I put mulch right on top of that. Oh my gosh, the alfalfa pellets will fix your soil like that with the mulch. Can't snap with my left finger, but it'll fix your soil so quick. With the mulch, it'll break it down super quick. And really just boost your nitrogen level in the soil. That's helped a lot.
Okay.
And I know that I met him, that guy, and he works with mulch too. So, yeah, meet him. He has a mountain of mulch. Thank you, Paul.
Yeah, thanks. Man.
Appreciate it.
Before we finish up, what Banks was talking about was developing this community. So, a big part of permaculture is moving from being a consumer to being a producer. So I would like to go around. If anyone is producing anything that they have for sale, let's start building that community right now. So, anyone? Come over here. Wes, you selling something?
I want to start up a nursery in the fall and winter.
So you're thinking about a nursery?
I am. But right now I have a ton of stuff. There's a craft fair, so I have a ton of stuff I'm doing right now. But I want to have an entire row of like cranberry hibiscus and roselle, like a you pick for like friends and family,
Yeah.
So you pick, it's like $10 for whatever. You can pick as many roselle, calyxes or leaves or cranberry hibiscus, flowers, whatever like that. So that's what I'm doing right now.
Great. Busy guy?
Yeah.
Anyone else? Joe?
Yeah, so I have mulch that has been on the property for about a year at least. And other piles that rotate. So I have several thousand yards of mulch. But also, when he was talking about water storage containers, I have food grade and non-food grade water types that are, the food grade are 275 gallons, and they're almost in brand new condition, only been used once. And then non-food grade, I have 275 and 330 gallons. So depending on what you're going to use it for, nothing had toxic chemicals in it, but it's a big trend with people wanting rainwater harvesting or aquaponic systems to be able to use the food grade and the non-food grade containers. So if anybody has a need for it, I have lots and lots of containers.
Susie, you want to tell us about your?
Yeah, I grow flowers. I just live up the street here, so I grow flowers, and I sell them at the Howey market. I just brought up, I had a florist back out on me at the last minute today, so I brought up tons of flowers at the Howey market today. So if anyone wants some, they're up there, and they'll be there throughout the summer. Flowers don't seem to mind the heat too much, so I'm going to keep growing them through the summer, and yeah, so that's what I do.
Becky.
I have ducks. If anybody needs ducks, I've got lots of ducks.
Duckies, baby ducks.
Welsh Harlequins, they're beautiful.
And what do you use them for? The eggs? The eggs or the meat?
You can use them for whatever you want. She says take them. Because if you don't, I'm gonna.
They make great eggs. What?
They make great eggs. They're good pets. They're show quality, so you can show them in fairs and whatnot if you need for 4-H or
4-H.
whatever. That's where I sell a lot of them. 4-H kids.
And they have to be enclosed, right? Or the coyotes will get to them?
Yes.
Yeah.
You can free range. Unless you go by the Florida law, then no, you can't. But that's a whole different. We're not talking about laws. Goes by that.
Anyone else want to share? Yeah.
So my concept's a little bit different. Kind of weave in elements of everybody here. I've got 20 acres, which is way, way, way more than we need. And so what I like to do is joint venture with people who want to do something, but they don't have the means to do it. I've got arable property. I've got biochar on the premises, because Paul does his biochar at my place. We've also got 2 acres of spring-fed water. We've got lots of fiber mass in the ground growing. And my idea is to serve the community. So if anyone wants to do a nursery, well, I've got the skeleton for 4,800 feet. It's just not put together yet. So anyone who wants to do something where we can benefit, both of us can benefit, my goal is to create abundance. So like Banks was saying, as soon as we all figure out that we can create abundance, most of the problems go away. So like Paul and I are doing this joint venture. I'm looking for permaculture. I'm looking for nursery operations. Anyone who wants to do something, if you know how to teach things, then certainly we'll set up a scenario where you can teach what you're good at. So it's all in line with what Paul's doing in his communities. But yeah, just love to see.
Thank you. What a great resource. If anyone's looking for land or wants to grow a garden or start putting down some commercial crops, the land's available. The water's available.
I've got the back. I call it the back 9. It's totally available. I got 4 acres under canopy, tree canopy. So I'll plant wildflowers if you need bees. I'll plant wildflowers for you. So
That's
just
great.
it starts with a conversation. That's all.
Anyone else want to share their products or services? I'll just mention the biochar. I also sell the biochar kilns and courses teaching you about how to make the biochar. But that's it at the moment.
And the next farm tour, it's always the second Saturday of every month. The next one is actually this Saturday, the 10th. It's at 9 a.m. It's at Sam's Lake Road, and that's Claremont. Come see me, and I'll give you my card, and I'll give you a specific information on it. So yeah, that's what I have to offer too.
So I just want to share something with y'all. I mean, I live in Tiberi. I go to church in Umatilla. But I just wanted to share a little thing with you. Somebody from another group I was in went to the City of Umatilla Library, and they said, do you have like a card catalog with seeds? We want to do some backyard gardening. And the city librarian or the librarian there said, we'll make a space for it. We'll figure it out. We'll make a space. And so somebody brought in seeds. Saw the ladies post. Somebody brought in 2 large totes of seeds. So the city is pulling it out and making small baggies, and you can go and get seeds. Well, it was so well received that the Agricultural Center here in Taveri said,
we want to support this. Umatilla is, the financial demographics are low, and so they want them to garden to help offset some cost. And so if anybody, if you know people in Umatilla or want to throw out a hand to help, I'm sure they would like some friend farmers to learn and grow with.